Really humid outside. The most dreaded thing of summer every year is upon us. At least the most dreaded thing for me, I should say, of summer is humidity. Every year for what, 35, 37 years now, I have complained every summer and asked myself, why am I still living here? Because I can take the winters no matter how harsh, but the humidity in the summertime just kills me. So I'm not looking forward to it, but you know, it is what it is. I'm still here, so I can just complain. Hope everybody is doing well, and I didn't have anything, like nothing was in particular was on my mind this week, so I think we'll just do kind of a general practice that I think is, you know, kind of overall useful for keeping us feeling limber and not too stiff. So, yep, we're just about ready to start. Go ahead and take a seat on your mat. So let's start seated today. And find yourself in your most comfortable cross-legged position. Just making note of what you automatically do when you sit cross-legged. Make sure you lengthen your spine. So really check to make sure you're not rounding at the low back or hunching your shoulders. Press into those sit bones and really feel yourself lengthening up from the tailbone right up through the crown of your head. And just feel yourself sitting. Just really be present with this seated position. And take a moment and just kind of notice how your body feels when you're seated cross-legged. If you don't do this very often, your hips and knees may send you little messages. I actually recommend sitting cross-legged. Both of the chair that I have in my living room, which you can't see, and the chair that I have in my bedroom, excuse me, are wide armless chairs so that I can sit in them cross-legged, which I do most of the time. Feel yourself breathing. Have a complete and total awareness of your breath. And then just think for a moment, how many times during the course of a day or a week do you actually take time to pay attention to your breath, to be present with your breath? So go ahead now and lie down. And let's just begin by taking your arms overhead. And then take your torso and your arms and stretch around to the left. Make sure you keep both shoulders on the floor, and so don't roll over. Just go as far as you can, keeping your back and shoulders on the floor. And then take your legs around to the left, so you feel a big stretch up the right side of your body. Now focus your breath into the right lung so that you can really feel the right ribs expanding and contracting as you inhale and exhale. After you finish your next exhalation, come back to center. And then take your torso and your arms around to the right, remembering to keep both shoulders on the floor, and then take your legs. So now the stretch is on the left side. Take a moment and just kind of pay attention to what feels different from one side to the other. Or do both sides feel the same? That's probably unlikely because for whatever reasons we're not symmetrical, so usually one side of our body is a little tighter than the other. Again, breathing into the left lungs now to feel those lungs expand as you inhale and contract as you exhale. After your next exhalation, one back to center. Push yourself up on your elbows. Take your right arm and put it underneath your back as far as is comfortable for you. So don't push it too far. And really try to make sure that you can keep that right shoulder on the floor so your shoulder's not hunching up like this. If you need to take your arm out a little bit to let that shoulder drop back, do that. And as you breathe, Max, get up on the sofa. Max, bad doggy. Good boy. Sorry. As you get up on the sofa, sorry, I was talking to Max. As you breathe, really breathe into the stretch in that right shoulder. So inhale and then sort of exhale and visualize sending energy into any tightness that's in your right shoulder. And then after you finish your next exhalation, completely push up on your left elbow, release the right one. Do the same thing on the other side, and once again, notice what's different from one side to the other. So is one shoulder much tighter? Do you need to let the arm out a little bit more? Nice deep breaths, sending the energy of the exhalation into any tightness in the left shoulder. A few years ago, I injured my left shoulder trying to, I can't remember if I was putting my bag up in the overhead luggage or taking it down, but it was really pretty bad. So, although it's pretty healed and pretty, I don't have any loss of mobility, I always feel it more in my left shoulder. After you finish your next exhalation, go ahead and release that shoulder. Grab your right knee, place your, clasp your hands around the front of the knee if you can. If that's too hard, you can clasp behind the knee. Stretch out your left leg and flex that left foot, and now pull that right knee in, but not directly over your chest. Pull it kind of out to the side a little bit so it's almost under your armpit, and breathe. After your next exhalation, bend your left knee, put your foot on the floor, and if you need to, if you don't remember doing this with me before, you can look up. You're going to clasp the inside, so from the inside of the sole of your right foot. And then you're going to press your right knee towards the ground. And it's okay if you roll over some, and it's also okay if your knee just won't go all the way to the ground. Just push it as close to the ground as you can get it, and breathe. Again, look up if you need to see what I'm doing. I'm going to now, keeping my left knee bent, I'm going to lay the leg down on the ground and cross my right leg over so that my right ankle is pressed against my left knee. My arms are out to the side, and I'm just going to press my right leg away from my knee. So press it out to the right, get a little bit more stretch there, and breathe. Now after your next exhalation is finished, put your left foot back on the floor so your right ankle is on top of your left knee. Go ahead and lift up the left leg and clasp your hands around the outside of your left knee and pull that left knee in towards your chest. And breathe. Finish your next exhalation. Release your right leg out onto the floor. Flex the right foot as you press that right leg away from your body. Pull the left knee, which you're still clasping, in, but again, not directly over your chest, kind of out to the side, so it's more or less under your armpit. And breathe. After your next exhalation is finished, bend your right leg, put the knee on the floor, grab the inside, grab the sole of your left foot from the inside and press the left knee down towards the floor. Again, the knee may not go all the way to the floor, that's fine, and it's okay if your right hip comes up off of the floor. Just breathing. Okay, after your next exhalation, keeping your right knee bent, just lay it down on the floor and cross your left leg over. So now your left ankle is against your right knee. And just kind of press that left leg away from your body. And then after your next exhalation, go ahead and put your right foot on the floor. Lift the right leg, clasp your hands around the outside of the right knee or behind the knee, and pull the right knee in. Of course, the stretch now is in the left hip. And after you finish your next exhalation, go ahead and release. And then go ahead and either roll over, rock yourself up to seated. So that little series is probably my all-time favorite sort of hip opener series. So you got tight hips, it's a good one. All right, coming into table pose. Just remembering to keep your shoulders directly over your wrists and your knees directly under your hips. Pressing into the fingertips, the knuckles of your hands, the palm of your hand, and the heel of your thumb. So really feel the muscles of your arms engage as you isometrically press your hands towards the center of the mat. Curl your toes under. And on your next inhalation, lift your knees, lengthen your spine, and then let's just bicycle back and forth, lifting the toes of one foot as you press down on the heel of the other, or lifting up onto the toes of one foot as you press down into the heel. Good. And then let's take a wide stance. So take your feet as wide as your mat. Relax your head. And just breathe. Just a little different. You might want to swing your hips a little bit. Just a little different take on downward facing dog pose. Making sure the back of your neck is relaxed. Breathing. And then looking up between your hands, walk your feet back together. Walk your hands towards your feet towards your hands. And coming into Uttanasana, just clasp your elbows, relax the back of your neck, and breathe. Place your hands at your waist, squeeze your shoulder blades back, and then inhale to come all the way back up. Okay, coming to the center of your mat. Let's take your feet a fair distance apart. Turn the feet out and place your hands right on your waist. And let's bend at the knees. Bend at the knees. So notice if you are leaning, if you're lifting your tailbone and leaning into your knees, as much as possible, try to make sure the tailbone is neutral and press your knees towards the baby toe. Relax your shoulders, take your arms straight out, and then bend at the elbows. Kind of squeeze your shoulder blades back together and breathe. Goddess pose. After your next exhalation, go ahead and straighten your legs, release your arms. Let's turn your feet to the right. So your right foot is pointed straight ahead, your back foot is turned slightly in. Bend your right knee into warrior two, and then take your arms out. So we're just going to do a little bit of a dynamic movement. So on your inhalation, straighten your leg and take your right arm overhead. Exhale, come back to warrior two. So inhale, and oops, and exhale, my foot is slipping. And inhale, and exhale. And one more time, inhale, and exhale, and hold. And straightening, let's turn the feet the other direction. So left foot left, right foot into the left. Bending that left knee, coming into warrior two, breathing. And then the same thing, we're going to inhale, straighten the left leg, take the left arm overhead, exhale back to warrior two. Inhale, and exhale. And on your next exhalation, let's just hold. After your next exhalation, inhale, straighten your legs. Exhale, let's come into a wide-legged forward fold. Breathing. So turn your feet parallel. after your next exhalation, walk your feet back together and placing the hands at the hips. Inhale, coming back up. Okay. Let's turn to face the lengthwise end of your mat. Take your right foot out to the edge of the mat. Place your hands at your hips and walk your left leg straight back. Press onto that left hip to make sure you keep the hips level. And then bend your right knee and release your arms. Take your arms overhead into warrior one. And we're going to do a similar dynamic thing. So as we inhale, we're going to inhale, straighten the leg, release the arms. Exhale, bend and come back into warrior one. Inhale. Good, and hold after your next exhalation. Finish your next exhalation. Straighten your front leg. Let's change sides. So take the left foot out to the edge of the mat, hands at the waist, walk the right foot back, but press that right hip forward so your hips are parallel, and bend your left knee. And bring the arms overhead for warrior one on the left side. And we're going to do the same thing. So you're going to inhale, straighten, release the arms. Exhale, bend. So back and forth. Inhale in. And the next time you come back into the pose, let's hold. Finish your next exhalation and inhale and straighten your legs. Okay. Let's come on back down onto the floor. And if you want, you can sit your hips up slightly on a blanket, stretch your legs straight out in front. So we're going to do a couple of knee and hip moves that I like. Again, I guess even though I said it initially, hadn't been thinking about anything in particular. As I'm teaching, I am thinking about, again, this idea of what are the things that we can do to keep our joints as fluid as possible. So, stretch your legs straight out, bend your right knee, pick it up, and all you're going to do for this first part is straighten and bend. So, just back and forth. Now, start to make circles in either direction with that. So you're just kind of bringing some mobility into the knee socket. If it feels really stiff, this is one you might want to do regularly. Let's go the other way. And then go ahead and release. So what did you notice about your knees? Did you hear a bunch of snap, crackle, and pop? Was it kind of stiff? Didn't want to make those circles? Just paying attention. Now put your right foot on top of your left thigh. Grab a hold of your right knee. And you're just going to kind of hold the top of the whole knee with your hand. And you're just going to go up, pull it up, and then press down as close to the ground as you can. So pull it up as close to your chest as you can, and press down towards the ground. Good. Now, hold on to your knee still, but stick your index finger out and pretend your index finger is a pencil. And pretend that you're going to make circles in the air with this pencil. So I want you to just make circles with your hip socket, either direction, because we're going to change. And just notice how that feels on that hip joint. Let's go back the other way. Good. And go ahead and release that side. Let's pick up the left leg, and we'll start by first just straightening and bending. And now make circles. Now, I have a lot of arthritis in my left knee, so my circles feel more like squares to me, although today is pretty good. And then go the other way. But again, I can't make as big a circles as I used to when I first started doing this. But I still do it because it gives some mobility. And then release. Put the left foot on top of your right thigh. Same thing. You're going to just go up, pull up, and press down. Pull up and press down. Pull up. And then make circles with that hip socket. Point your index finger so you can pretend like you're making circles in the air. Same thing on my left side. I've got arthritis in my left hip, so my circles aren't as big as they used to. Go the other way. Good. And go ahead and release. Okay, so keeping that awareness, like last week I was talking about sometimes we aren't always aware of things that are uncomfortable. We sort of put up with things that are uncomfortable and don't realize quite how stiff they are. But just because of trying to stay active with my walking and my cycling, I'm very aware of my knees and hips. So I pretty much do some of these exercises that we did today on a very regular basis. All right, go ahead and lie down. Close your eyes. And have your arms at your sides with your palms facing up. Or if you like, you can take your feet really wide and just take your arms wide overhead. Or if you like, you can bend your knees and place the feet on the floor. So just find that place, whichever one of those positions is comfortable for you. And just let your body really kind of surrender, feeling fully supported, letting go of any holding or tensing or tightening. Being fully aware of your body lying here, and being fully aware of your body breathing. See if you can take some pleasure, some joy in feeling your body lying here and feeling your body breathing. And if your mind tends to start to wander off to the things you plan to do for the rest of the day or the weekend, make a note of that and then just bring your mind back to the present moment by following your breath. And then after you finish your next exhalation, bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, and either roll over onto your side or rock yourself back up to seated. So I hope everybody's going to have a nice weekend, and hope to see you again next week. Namaste.